Hi, it's me. Here's some more gratuitous content. I picked up this Classic Plus KitchenAide Mixer at a thrift shop recently, a couple weeks ago, and I've wanted one of these for a really long time. I tested it, it does work, but I didn't want to do too much work with it until I checked the insides to see that everything was greased and good, because I would have hated to buy it. I got it at a pretty good price. I think it was under $200. It's missing two of the accessories. It doesn't have the lid. It doesn't have the lid for this bowl, and it doesn't have the version of this that has the scraper on it. Other than that, it's in really good shape. I already did a wipe down of the outside when I brought it home. It was a little dingier than this. Right now I'm going to do a quick breakdown, take off the back, look at the inside of that, take off the band, wipe down any grease that may have accumulated underneath, pop this off and make sure the gear head inside is greased. I have some food grade grease just in case it needs to be re-greased, otherwise I was taking it apart for nothing. So now I'm going to start taking it apart. And my glasses will fall apart while I do that. Spin this around. So I once, a long time ago, watched a video on how to do this, and there's not that many screws to this. This whole back panel should come off when I remove this screw here. This is a very janky screwdriver, no magnetics. So that's the top one. I'm going to put that the furthest back. And this should just come out like that. And that looks really clean inside. That looks really nice. I thought this was vintage because it has the spring in the front. The newer ones generally don't have this spring. So maybe this was refurbished and they added that, but the brand new ones don't come with that spring that locks the accessories down. So that looks good. I'm not going to mess with that at all. So now I'm going to take the band screws off, which are here on the left and right. Right, those two screws are different. Band comes off like this. Spin it around. It looks very clean under there from this angle. Oh, nope, there we go. Yeah. So there is a little grease buildup under there. That's understandable. It comes pre-greased with a food grade grease. Clearly it's been used, and now I've got some of that. Let me grab a paper towel, and I'm going to wipe that off. Although it looks gross, it's not dangerous in any way. If you're not familiar with these type of mixers, this plate right here is removable, and this is for some other accessories. There's a square drive in there. I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but a lot of accessories hook up to that, almost like the back of a tractor. You plug it into there, and the rotational torque works like your cheese graters, your vegetable slicers, things like that. But we don't need that off right now, so I'm gonna put it back, tighten up the grub screw. Now here's the part, the scary part, pulling this off, because it generally won't just pop off on its own. You have to force. Oh yes, it did come off. Fantastic. All right, so now wipe the excess grease off of here. I may have to get a moistened towel eventually, but let me get the bulk of this off. And now I should have a set. Well, let me get this out of here too. So I'm just wiping it out of the rim of the steel thing I just popped off. This is, there is no like mark, there's no match mark or anything like this. This will just slide up in any orientation. So now what I need to do is remove the screws from this plate. I'll probably take this plate off as well and clean underneath. I may have done that already when I brought it home. So this gets a little tricky. It does have the flat base in the back, so I'm going to have to switch to a flat head. And it's a little tricky. I don't think that is going to be... I'm trying to remember... I believe I have to knock this pin out. I do. There's a pin on the side here that's holding this up, so I have to knock this pin out so that I can slide this off. So I am going to try to do that with what I have here. Now this is, from what I understand, this is our hit or miss kind of operation. It either goes smoothly or it will take a lot of work. Really should use something like a pin push to do this, but I don't have one that I'm aware of. It's hard to tell if I'm making progress. Let me see, what else do I have here? Is this a good size? No. I'm going to pause the video and see if I can find a pin push and resume this later. Okay, so I'm back. Most of the pin punches that I have in my tool chest are old ones that people have ended up sharpening and using as scribes and stuff like that. So I've got a few implements here I'm going to try. I'm going to lay this on its side so I've got a better angle at it. The first thing I'm going to try is my last remaining pin push, which has gotten very, very short. Give me one moment. This is a scribe. I can use this side as the pin push. It looks like a good fit. I brought up a hammer. Moving on to the next one. My wife suggested that I use the bottom of our old washing machine footer because it fits in there nicely. It's got a nice big head on it, so let me give that a shot. Don't know if I'm making progress or not. Sounds so solid. And what else did I have here? Got this rod. I think it's bigger than the hole, unfortunately. Let me go back to this one more time. Because that definitely does fit. Get me started at least. Oops. Back to the other one. That is seriously in there. This one I don't want to do, but we'll give it a shot. It's a back of a drill. That's I'm going to flip this over and push it from the other side and see if that gives us any advantage. Start with so that's above the surface. dent. While it's still above the surface, I could use this rod. I don't know if getting in there with WD-40 would do me any good or not. Tempted. One more object that's kind of the same size. Give this a shot. I don't think this will work. It's got a wooden handle. It's going to absorb most of the... One more try with the washer foot. Woohoo! Did someone glue this in? It's a quandary.
We stop and do some investigation.
Sounds like a good idea. I'm going to pause briefly. Hey, how's it going? So we did get the pin out. I didn't have a 1/8 pin push to get it out, so I used various tools. I did some dumb stuff like using a drill and hammering on a drill. Surprised it didn't explode and like end up in my eyes. Anyway, the pin is out. This is the pin that goes in that hole. I am now going to pry this off. I'm going to stand it up for that. So, take this screwdriver and just try it in a couple spots. There it goes. This is probably going to be a mess of gears when I pull it off. Almost there. There we go. So it's got that nasty goo inside. I'll wipe that out. Yes, there is no grease on these gears at all. This should be coated with food grade grease, and this is pretty much what I was afraid of. I was afraid that it would be not greased. I'm going to grab some more paper towels. So as I said, my fear is that this wasn't going to be greased. I'm going to wipe some more of this out while the camera person takes some images. I'm now going to lay this on its side so I have a better vantage angle at it. Move some of these tools out of the way so they don't scratch my mixer. So I suspect this has never been opened. I don't know if that's true, but looks like it, doesn't it? All right, so there's the upper gear section. For this side, there's a planetary gear behind this plate that we're going to have to get to and grease as well. And that's what these screws are for. I haven't lost the first 3 screws yet, so that's good. Some more of this off. I'm going to pull this off and put the upside up for when I go to reinstall it. All right, now to remove these screws. While I'm doing this, you'll notice up on the top, which is the side, but it's the top that's laying down, you'll see this big screw right here. Before I had looked up how to disassemble and fix these, I made the mistake of removing those screws, and they are screws, but what they are is they're the carbon brushes for the electric motor inside. And once I removed them, it was a nightmare getting them back in because this is an older machine, and the carbon brushes had conformed to the motor, so they had to be put in a very specific way, otherwise it wouldn't run because you weren't making contact, full contact with the armature or whatever the heck it's called. But I eventually got it in correctly and it runs fine. All right, I'm not exactly sure how this comes off. I've removed the screws. Do I take the whole top off? No, I think I have to remove these screws as well, right? Is that the case? Because this... It's a very good question. I'm going to flip it back up. I think, well, I'm going to take those screws out first. I think the whole top comes off. Let me pause to review a video. All right, we did some online reviewing, and obviously we do have to take the top off to get to the gears inside here. I've removed the strain relief. I've taken 3 of the 4 screws off. This last screw has to come off, but I think I'm going to flip it up to do that one. So flip it up, unlock the head, push it back, and I can kind of see it. Let me not destroy everything. No, I can't, because it's on the other side. Huh. So the front screws are different from the back screws. You have to keep them separated. The back screws have washers on them, the front ones don't. This, according to the video we were just watching on how to regrease these, we definitely have the older model because we have the Phillips head screws. I don't know if you can see, I'm just taking the back screw off there. Once that comes out, that goes here with the other back screw. I don't see the washer for this one. Interesting, this one did not have a lock washer with it. This one does, this one doesn't, and it's not stuck up in there, so it just doesn't have the lock washer. I don't know how important that is, but weird that it's missing. I'm going to tip this down. I'm going to unravel the cord from the way it's tied here just so it doesn't get caught on anything. And now I'm going to pop the head off, which has somehow got dirty again, probably because I'm working with it and my hands are getting greasy. They say you may have to use a paper towel and pry it off, so I'm going to try that. Screwdriver and a paper towel. Whoops. Let me just use a regular towel, something I won't push right through. This one's too narrow. Get a beefier screwdriver. There we go. Pry that off, pry that off. All right. Insanely heavy. Oh, wow. So, oops, that came off too. I believe, don't know what that came off of. So, it's really black. I actually think it's in pretty good shape. It's still very greasy. Yep, still very greasy. I have no idea what this came off of. Probably came right out of there. Yeah, that's the square drive. That goes in there. It was stuck to the grease. So now the question is, do I replace this grease? I think I do. Because this has to be the original grease. And there is a lot of it. My goodness. Is really packed in there, which is good. Man, I am tempted to leave this grease alone. It is, this part, it feels hard, but it's just because, like, as soon as I push on it, it's...
So just regrease the bottom part, leave that.
Yeah, because this seems really good. I hate to, yeah, I mean, that's super greasy. Just move it around a bit, but yeah, I'm tempted not to mess with that at all. All right. That being the case, Let's pause for 1 minute so I can get this stuff off my hands. I'm going to leave that there. If anybody watching this knows that leaving that in there is a bad idea, let me know and I'll take it back apart again and regrease it. But that seems really good to me. It seems like it's supposed to be that color. It's extremely viscous. Like, it feels like new grease. It's weird that this part is so well greased, but the rest isn't. I'm just going to put some of the grease on the parts over here that don't seem to have as much attached, like the drive and the screw. Just push it down from where it got glopped up.
What the other guy said was that they changed it to a white grease because it leaked.
Right.
And we didn't see any evidence of it leaking.
Oh yeah, we did. That's what all that brown stuff was. So yeah, like this stuff here, that's the grease leak. The white grease, you just don't see it on the body as much. So okay, we're gonna pause. I'm gonna get this grease off my fingers and I'm going to reassemble the top. I am not going to re-grease that. I think this grease is fine. Hey, so before I wash my hands, I was just thinking this grease seems good. Instead of opening my new container of food safe grease, I'm going to take this grease and I'm going to grease this part here with it because there is so much of it. This part here and the if I look down here, the other gears up here, right? So I'm just gonna run, I'm gonna run a bead of it around this gear because there is so gosh darn much of it and it feels good and greasy, like a good grease should. Some more up there, get it all in between the teeth. If I ever do this again, I will absolutely wear gloves. This is gross. All right, so that's good and glopped up. This gear is good and glopped up. All right, I'm gonna go wash my hands, hit some of this with paper towel and put it back together again. Be back in a moment. Okay, so I re-greased, as you just saw, I just washed my hands. This grease is still good. It's like, it's not very come-offy. I couldn't wash it off, so in the future, if you're doing this, definitely wear gloves. This stuff is really gross. So I've re-manipulated this grease. I've put the drive back in place. I'm going to put the lid on and screw that back into place. Carefully put the lid on because there's like electronics and stuff like that. Oh, look, a helping hand. I may have to... I think I'm catching on the drive. Push that in and turn it slightly. Screws in the right place. All right, try this again. I'm going to see if it's the drive that's holding it up by rotating it ever so slightly. Nope, that's definitely not it. Not exactly sure what I'm hung up on. Drive was way over. Let's try this again. All right, in the right spot. Drive keeps migrating back, but I've got it now pulled forward. Definitely something, oops. That drive fell out again. I'm going to grease the body of the drive so it stays put when I put it in the hole there. But I don't think that's what's getting in the way. Pin is in the right, this worm is in the right spot. Doesn't seem like anything else is out of place. There's nothing blocking the shaft of this pin. That all seems good. Get some of this off my fingers, and we'll try one more time. It may be trapped air. If that's the case, I may just have to tap it down. Yep. I do believe it's supposed to be slightly lower than that. Maybe? Rotate the rod a little bit.
Just went down a little bit.
Okay. Yep, that was it. Step one of putting it back together. All right, so wipe some of this grease off. Since I'm going to have to edit this together anyway, I'm going to wash my hands again, and I'm going to remove some of the greasy towels and things of that nature, and start recording again in a minute. See you in a minute. Okay, I've removed some of the rags. I've removed the greasy rags, greasy paper towels I had laying around. I'm now wiping this down, and I'm about to put the screws back in it. So it's in the reverse order. I need to put the strain relief back in place on the back here. That came out of here. Make sure I don't pinch any other wires. So that goes there. Now that that's in place, I am tempted to put the back on. I don't see any reason why I shouldn't.
Screw this on first. That was the last thing you took off.
Well, okay. The audience is telling me to do the exact opposite of what I did before, so I will. So this is the next part. We already greased the gear up in here.
Screw this.
Oh, screw the top on. Good thing she's here. So I've got the two screws. These are the two screws from the back. One of them has the lock washer, the other one does not, but now maybe both of them don't. No, it's fine. So this is the one that was on this side without a lock washer. I'm gonna put that back into place. Maybe. It sticks out enough that I could have started it by hand, and I think I will do that for the next one. So the next one is on this side. Up here, get a half a turn with my finger so it stays up there by itself. Move this greasy gear out of the way so I don't stick my screwdriver in it. There we go. Since this has a bunch of starts and stops, I could be really lazy and just put it on YouTube as a bunch of parts, but I think I really need to practice with that DaVinci software I have downstairs. I believe that's what it's called, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to offload the video off the phone, and we're going to edit it together into one contiguous video. So now I'm putting the bottom back on.
Nope.
I'm not.
There are 5 screws that go up in this.
Oh, I guess I should put it back together. You know what? There's the front screws too. Forgot about the front screws for the head. These go up in here. There's 4 screws holding the head on. I have a hard time catching this one. Interesting. This one went in fine, so this one should line up. Let me make sure there's no debris on the end of the screw here. This would probably be slightly easier if I tilted the head back. So I'll do that for the second screw. And that is so much easier.
I think I just heard a bird laughing at you too.
I wouldn't be surprised. And now these 5 screws. I wonder, the fact that this appears to be the original black grease, which I forget what year he said they stopped using it.
16 or 17. That's what I think he said.
Oh, that wasn't that long ago.
Or 16 or 17 is when they stopped using the screws, the flathead screws, and went to the square.
Oh.
So I'd have to see what about the other one.
Are you catching the screwing action? Exciting screwing action? So this will definitely have to be edited down.
Or sped up.
Oh, sped up. That's a good idea. A little crunchy there. All right. Didn't like that at all. Not gonna like pushing that pin back in. All right. Now I believe I put this head on.
Yeah, do you want to put that thing in there?
I believe this goes up here, right? Yep.
Yes.
That goes there. You want the
Just to fill the hole.
aesthetics?
Yeah.
All right, I don't have that on there, right? There we go. I got grease in the name. That is some greasy grease.
Maybe this is the reason why you don't get a white one.
I don't know how often you're supposed to do this. Now, how does this go on here? Oh, I guess it doesn't. No, does this rotate? Yeah, this does rotate.
It does rotate.
Okay, yeah, so there is no specific way this goes on. It just gets on up there. All right. Ugh. Doesn't that sound delicious? Oh, I do have to line it with the pinhole though, don't I? Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that matters. All right. That's going to be fun. All right. Yeah, I'm not strong enough to turn that, so I just have to line it up as best I can, and then come on. There, I see light, but this needs to go up higher. There we go. No, still not. Does this pin have any wiggle? Yes, it does. How unfortunate is that? So how am I going to pull that down? I wonder if, oh, I might have something thin enough to push through there. Yeah, I think I do, okay. So what's happening is when I push this in, this hole is slightly higher than this hole, so if I try to push the push pin through, it's gonna slam into the body of this. So once I get this on, I'm gonna have to pull this back down a slight little bit. So I'm gonna have to put something smaller through that hole. I may have to go downstairs and get a tiny Allen key or something like that. Yeah, I'm perfectly lined up, but I need to pull that down. I think I have a tiny bar right over here. It might fit through there and pull it down. Oops. Not quite tiny enough. Something with a point. I'm gonna pause while I go get a tool. Okay, so we used a little Allen key to go into the hole to pull this pin down so this is aligned. Before I put this pin back, in the process of removing it, it was very difficult, and I noticed there's some mushrooming. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of mushrooming on the end of that pin. I know that will make it a nightmare for me to ever remove it again, so I'm going to hit it with some sandpaper before I put it back in the machine. Just on the ends to get rid of that burr that I created by banging it out with the wrong tools. Get the right tools when you do this. You need a 1/8 pin up, 1/8 pin push. That's a lot better. What about this side? That side's fine. All right, so I'm going to push it in this way. Make sure I'm still aligned here. Pardon me. Looks good. Get some light taps. What am I going to use here? Let's try this one. Nice. I'm going to lay this on its side to give me more leverage. Moving all this stuff that could possibly scratch it out of the way. It is a greasy mess here. You definitely want to do this on rags or a towel of some sort. I'm putting the head down, I'm locking the head in place. Wipe my hands again. Constant cleaning as I go along. All right. Now, this really isn't a pin pusher. This is an old scribe. The scribe's on the inside, using it as a pin push. Thought I had something better here. Yeah, there's that thing. Way down here so we can see what I'm doing. say that's good enough. Almost there. Where's on the other side? It's through the whole body. All right. I don't think I ever wiped the band, but it didn't really look that bad. Let me hit that now before I forget. So there's a few more pieces to put on. There's the back. There's the metal cap right here. Have I burned through all my paper towels already? Might have to grab more. Actually, before I put this cap on, let me make sure that I've completely tightened all 5 of these. Good. Good. I should have done this before I put that head on, but that's good. And that one's good. Okay. Now I'm going to put the metal cap back on. So I don't want all the way across. Yes. So on both sides. Staying on. So now I'm back to the back. I think I'm down to the last 3 screws. So I put the I gotta put the band back on. Let me grab one more paper towel. Just a squirt of vinegar.
Or vinegar, as everybody else calls it.
Not so concerned about what the inside looks like, but I'll give the outside another wipe. I wouldn't be surprised if this bleeds grease for a couple of days after I get it back together, because I moved it all around in there, so I'm gonna have that to deal with, but at least the that'll be easy to deal with. So these 2 screws here, the 2, I guess, smaller screws, are what hold the band on. Get that one started. Bring this around. Get this one started. Maybe. Now, to find my Phillips head screwdriver. I gotta get rid of the screwdriver or put a magnet on it so the heads stay in there. All right, 1, 2. They're in. Now, this, there's a couple of slots where this white wire's in the way. I made that look more difficult than it was. Oh, someone's handing me a screw. This is also a Phillips. Fressin. Okay, I believe I've put most of the parts back on it. I'm gonna get one more paper towel. I'll take this one, like that a little bit, wipe my hands a little bit. This is going to get a full wipe down. Actually, while I'm here, let me just do this real quick. I'm going to pull this plate off because I'm not entirely sure if I cleaned under that or not. I think I did because I don't see any schmutz around the outside, but just to show you how easily it comes off. It's 3 screws. 1, 2, someone's coming to the rescue with the good screwdriver at the end of the show here.
I just happened to have found it recently.
Three screws. It does not look like I de-schmutzed this. It just happened to be clean. Oh, look at that. Ancient dead mosquito or something. How gross. A little bit of crumbs. I don't think this machine got a ton of use. It's surprisingly clean, and for the fact that all that black grease was still up in the head, I'm just surprised that there was no grease in the lower head. For the sake of brevity, I'm just going to put this back together. I can do a deep cleaning later. I'd say you don't want to see that, but you probably didn't want to see what you did see. The big payoff in a couple of moments is when I get this plate back, when I'm going to plug it in and make sure it still works. That never gets old. All right, here's the cord. Plug it into the Angry Pixie socket. And I don't know, there's a switch somewhere. Oh, listen to that grease. So I should have played this before I did the repair, because instead of that sloppy, greasy sound, what we used to hear was a gross, crunchy sound. This is a better sound from a mechanical standpoint. Just going to peek inside and make sure that the square head is turning. I'll show you that. Crank it to ludicrous speed. I'm pretty happy with that. All right, have a wonderful day.